First, is it possible to fall out of love? If so, how do you do it and how long does it take? Well, a reader who wrote to The Guardian's resident agony aunt, Lucy Mangan, asking for her advice on speeding up the process of leaving loving feelings behind, was given all sorts of tips, including looking at the man you're trying to fall out of love with naked, watching him eat an overstuffed sandwich, inspecting his bathroom, or failing that, his feet. So have any of us ever tried to fall out of love, and how easily can it be done?
But you see, they could all be the things that made you fall in love with him in the first place, couldn't they?
Nakedness.
Feet, no, not really. But no, I think if you're, in love with somebody and they don't want you, and you've got to get over it, leave, get out, big break, separation, and just don't have it in front of you all the time.
It's easy to say that, though, isn't it?
What if you can't leave, though?
Yeah.
What if you can't leave? You've got children together, you haven't got money to get away, you've got to see him really on a regular basis. It's hard.
And he doesn't want you.
And he doesn't want you.
Well, if he doesn't want you, that's the beginnings of it. If somebody doesn't want me, I'm not going to hang about and waste my love.
You can't always go, Lynda. I mean, it's just one of the... I have to tell you. No, wait for it. When I was 16, I fell in love with a man. And, well, of course, And I think I've loved him all my life.
Aww.
Anyway, I know, that's good. That's good. I like that. But the thing is, what happened was we got together, and I thought he was going to marry me. In fact, he did ask me to marry me in his way. And then, as time went on, I came to London, and he kind of drifted away from me, and I've never understood to this day why. And I have asked the question, and I have a friend who was actually going to tell me why in a couple of weeks' time.
Well, this friend has information.
Yeah, and this is like when I was 16, so you're talking many years ago. And the saddest thing is, I so loved him so much. When you're with somebody and you go out with them, and the time goes so fast. You know what I mean by that? And it's 7 o'clock, and then it's 11 o'clock at night. You think it's 2 minutes. That's how much I loved him, and just to with him.
So you never really fell out of love with him? You don't feel that you did ever fall out of love?
I don't believe I ever did.
Are you scared of finding out the reason?
Yeah, I am. I mean, of course, I met my husband, and I had my Keeley, which, of course, is the reason I met him and the reason Keeley came along. But I never did find out. The man in question did die a few years ago, so I could never, go back and find out from him. But he has a friend who I know who got in touch with me only a few weeks ago and said, I'd like to talk to you.
Oh.
I have him.
Oh, and you're going to find out.
I am going to. So watch this space.
I'm a bit with you, Lynda, in that I think if you can possibly remove yourself, that's the best of all things. But I think it's I think even more than a physical disengagement, it's a mental thing of let go, which is so hard, isn't it? Because I think if you're in love with somebody and it's really unrequited difficult, or whatever it might be, it's very hard to give up.
Yeah,
because you think.
But you know what? Don't you think it's funny that when you meet someone, and even if they eat like a trough and it's all over them, and they've got manky feet, and you meet them and you think, I love that about him. I love his manky feet. And then as soon as you fall out of love, you think you revolting
What
person.
did I do? Yeah, it's the same. Isn't it the same?
You just love every horrible thing about
washing
him.
underwear. You don't mind washing somebody's underwear, do you?
When you're in love with them.
Yeah, but when you fall out, you go, what's that?
My sister, she was terrible when she was younger. She'll admit this herself. She was quite immature when it came to men, and she went out with this gorgeous-looking guy. And on about the second date, when they were walking down the street, he tripped up the pavement, and she dumped him.
Because he tripped?
She just thought, oh, he's an idiot. I'm so embarrassed.
Out of love, just
no
like
chance
that.
for me.
That is very teenage, isn't it? When you're young and you fall madly in love, and you're so in love, like you were at 16, you're so in love, and you meet the next day and he's got a spot and you go, and it's off.
It's all over.
It's over. Oh, no, thank you.
Right.